Hello and welcome to the morning show, teeing off with RevSportz. A very good morning to all of you present. This is me, Rohan Chaudhary, and from today, all eyes on Ahmedabad as tomorrow the fourth test of the Border Gavaskar Trophy will start. India started off the campaign really well. The first match showed that we thought that India would bulldoze through those three tests. Rohit Sharma also said that if you win the three tests, we'll have a greener pitch in Ahmedabad, but Australia had something else in mind. They got a comprehensive victory in the third test, and as of now, India needs to win this fourth test to book a place in the World Test Championship final. And to discuss this at a stretch, we have Devashish Sen, Atsu Mukhopadhyay from Ahmedabad, and also Boria
Hi.
Majumdar will join in some time. And there is Boriada. Happy birthday,
Yeah,
Boriada.
Thank you
One
very
day
much.
more.
Many happy returns of the day.
Thank you very, very much.
Uh, Boriada, coming to you. India started off well, but Australia had something else in mind. This test will decide India's fate for the WTC final. And as we are hearing that Mohammad Siraj might be dropped from the team and Shami might be brought in, do you think it will be a good move for the fourth test?
In fact, I would want to ask Atrio, what is he hearing because he's there. Will it also be a possibility that they go in with one less fast bowler because clearly the fast bowlers have been underbowled. They are not bowling enough given the conditions. So, do you need two fast bowlers, or do you just need one of them to break the monotony? And Umesh bowled extremely well. So that is actually a question I would want to ask Atrio, that maybe one extra batsman or something like that. Is that also a possibility? And the second question is, would Atrio want to go in with KS Bharat, or will somebody like Ishan Kishan get a look in? This is the other question that I had. So over to you, Rohan. Maybe Atrio can answer these two.
Yeah,
Well,
so
to come to the first question, which is whether India should drop the second fast bowler and bring in an additional batter. That's I think that makes sense because second fast bowler has hardly bowled in this series. In three matches taken together, Shiraz probably has not bowled 20 overs taken together, and that way bringing in additional batter, especially when the batting unit has not got its act together, bringing in that additional batter makes sense. And I would also like to tell you that in Ahmedabad during the practice sessions, Ishan Kishan was seen batting for long periods, which is an indication that which can be an indication that the team management is looking at him because he also brings in that left-handed batter factor in the middle order, which India doesn't have at the moment. Although they have tried out Jadeja at number 5, and so Ishan Kishan. Going by what was seen at the nets, looks like that team management is taking a more serious look at him, and whether that will be as a specialist batter in place of a medium pacer or in place of wicketkeeper Bharat, we have to see. Coming to your second question, Boria, that whether India should give a chance to somebody else. In this case, it has to be if they drop Bharat, it has to be Ishan Kishan. And unless they get KL Rahul to keep, which is unlikely at this moment, very unlikely. And Bharat has struggled with the bat like every other Indian batter, not just him. It's not just him, and his activities behind the stumps have not been that bad. And we have to admit that it's difficult conditions to bat as well as difficult conditions to keep. So whether they will drop Bharat and bring in Ishan Kishan, hand him a debut at this juncture in the last test in a pressure match is something only time will tell. Although according to me, my gut feeling says that dropping Bharat and playing Kishan as a specialist, as a keeper batter, is a little unlikely. But Kishan definitely stands a chance to come in as a specialist batter ahead of Surya Kumar Yadav because of the left-handed factor. If India decide to bench the second medium pacer, who has not been used at all in this series.
Okay.
okay. Devashi, you would like to add on to this question that whether pacer would be dropped to bring in a batter?
See, obviously, ideally, they should go into an extra batter. But having said that, the Indian fast bowlers have bowled only 61 overs in this series so far. Only 61 overs, all three test matches. So that and Siraj has been given rest as part of workload management. But if you want to win a test match, you need to pick 20 wickets. Will those four bowlers will be enough to pick 20 wickets? That's the biggest question, because you would love to get those 20 wickets to ensure that you win this test match and qualify for the World Test Championship final. Yes, true. We have our batters have not done well. Our batters have not clicked, but it was a one-off thing in indoor. We have won the first two test matches. There was no debate then. There was no question as to whether we would go with an extra batter or not. But that indoor test match for the loss has raised these questions. But I for one would love to see India being positive going in with five bowlers.
Okay. Boyada, if India goes with only one pacer, who would you want to see? Shami?
I mean, how do you drop Umesh after what he did in Indore? I mean, he's been one of your most successful bowlers on Indian soil, and I emphasize that
Yeah.
Indian soil bit. Look at his record. Look at his performances on Indian soil. So you can't drop him after that performance in Indore. So it has to be Umesh, which is unfair on Shami because he's another incredibly successful bowler and gem of a performer. Having said that, it will be unfair on Umesh as well if after that effort you drop him. So go with Umesh, and that's where Devashish's point comes in, because both Mohammad Shami and Umesh Yadav using the long handle. Think of Shami's runs in Delhi. That 37 or 40 odd runs were of real value. So maybe both of them for Siraj will get you 30-40 runs. And that's where Atriyo's point about Ishan Kishan, maybe, that 20 ball 30 or 30 ball 35, something that Rishabh Pant was regularly doing, will make a huge impact in a low scoring test match. So maybe that's where the Ishan Kishan consideration comes in. That suppose Matthew Kuhneman is bowling and Ishan Kishan taunts him for 2-3 boundaries in an over, all of a sudden the game changes. So will India try that option? It's fascinating test match in prospect, make no mistake.
Okay. After coming to you, you were there in Ahmedabad. We have a pitch report saying that Ahmedabad will have a mixture of a red soil and a black soil pitch, as it was said in the third test also, and we saw what the pitch was like. So, do you expect something similar sort in Ahmedabad also? Atriyo?
See, Indore, it was said that it's the pitch is in Indore. It was said that the pitch is a mix of red and black soil, and we saw what happened. So I do not see that being repeated here. Red soil traditionally tends to assist spin, while black soil makes for a harder wicket. The ball comes off. Bounce is slightly higher, but at the moment it's difficult to say what kind of pitch they are going to prepare over here. My feeling is that it won't be as raging a turner as was seen in Indore, but it will still assist spin, and it will still assist India's primary ploy of going in with three frontline spinners. So that is, having said that, it is up to the. If you see that the batters of neither side have done anything significant over here. India has got most crucial of their runs have come from the two spinners, and Australians, other than two half centuries by Khwaja and one by Hanscom, with big runs. So, considering that, I do not expect conditions to change very, very drastically over here, as it won't be a completely different wicket from what was seen earlier in the first three matches. But definitely, it's going to be. Batting is expected to be slightly, easier than in Indore. Rohan.
Okay. Devashish, coming to you, we have seen these pitches are not that. I think when it comes to the fair play perspective, such rank turners are not what we want. But do you think that in the third test it backfired the Indian players also? Because the Indian batters also failed in those tests. And what do you think of that? It
Yes,
backfired the Indian.
to some extent, yes, it backfired because the ball turned square on from the sixth over itself. We saw a spinner being inducted in the sixth over. So yes, to some extent, yes, it backfired. But ideally, India should go on with a Turner. I won't say the wicket like the one in Indore, but definitely Turner is the best option for India to win a Test match against Australia. Yeah,
Atro
because
was saying something. Yes, Atro.
Yeah, I was saying that yes, in India you expect the ball to turn, and especially when you see that India going, why is India going in with three specialist spinners? That's because they are expecting the ball to turn. But there is difference between the ball turning and the ball not coming onto the bat. I mean, there is a difference between those two types of pitches. In Indore, what we saw was the bounce was uneven, ball was not coming onto the bat. So that was not. I mean, batters had nothing in that. I mean, there was nothing going in for their favor. So that was a bit, not a bit, that was a lot one-sided between a one-sided contest between ball and bat, where the ball won almost every time. That needs to change, and I think we will see a change on that front over here in Ahmedabad. I mean, the ball will probably come onto the bat a little more, a little better than it did in Indore. Rohan.
Yeah. Boyada, your thoughts on that? It backfired the Indian batters,
Yeah,
and
I mean, look,
what do you
in
expect
India,
India?
if you see India's record in India, you have decimated opposition sides or opponents by preparing conventional cricket wickets. The thing that Atreo just mentioned, relatively decent for batting, and then it turns from maybe day three. And if you see India's record, you've killed everybody. You've won multiple test matches, series. Why do you want to make it a lottery and bring the sort of spinners from the opponent's side into play and give your batters less of a chance? There's no need. You've done that in the past against England. It has backfired in Mumbai with Panesar and Swan. You've done that in the past in 2017. In Pune, it backfired with Steve O'Keefe and the Australians. Why do you have to repeat that ploy? And Rohit said, for example, in that post-match PC, there's so much talk about the pitch. Now the question is for the management, why is there so much thought on the pitch? Why don't you just go in with conventional cricket wickets where you've had tremendous amount of success? Because you back your batters. You look, you've got an Ashwin and you've got a Jadeja, who are two of the best ever in spinning conditions or conventional cricket conditions on Indian soil. Allow their skill to flourish. By preparing an indoor kind of cricket wicket, you are diminishing the value of their skill and allowing the Australian spinners. And Matthew Kuhneman is no Jadeja, but the pitch is making Matthew Kuhneman come close to Jadeja. That shouldn't happen. It should be the skill of the bowler. And that's where I think, India should just sort of go back, look at what they've done over the last several years and prepare a wicket which will give assistance to the spinners, yes, but that does not mean that the batters will not be in play.
Okay, I think Atro's internet is a bit problem. Devashish, coming to you, Nathan Lyon, he has been exceptional throughout. And why do you think Indian batters have faced so difficulty in facing Nathan Lyon?
yeah, obviously he was a bit off color in that first test at Nagpur, but ever since then
Yeah.
he has varied his line. Means the line and length is key to be successful in Indian conditions, and that's what Nathan Lyon did. And the pace in which you bowl. The key for getting success on Indian wickets is the pace at which you bowl. That variation, a little bit of variation in pace does wonder for any spinners. You see a Jadeja or a Ashwin. Mm, mm. So I think India haven't played Nathan Lyon well as well. Let us accept the fact that we haven't played Nathan Lyon well because yes, he did bowl well, but we would have expected a batter to bat against him well as well.
Okay. Theo, coming to you, same question to you. Why did Indian batters find it so difficult to face Nathan Lyon? How Nathan Lyon become so successful in this, especially in the third one?
I think the first factor is that Nathan Lyon is a very good bowler. He's a clever bowler. He's intelligent. He's played in, this is his third tour of India. So he knows how to go about it. And he has had success in his previous tours as well. What he's done, what he did in Indore was he adjusted his pace beautifully, because on wickets on pitches that offer a lot of turn, I mean, there the pace has to be slightly faster than their normal pace. We saw in the second innings, he was some of the deliveries were close to 100 kmph, while his average pace in Australia will be much about 10 kmph lesser. than that. So why that is needed is that if you bowl that much faster, batsmen do not get the chance to adjust with the turning ball. And he has got a lot of help from the wicket, no doubt. And he has used the wicket to the way he wanted. I mean, not all the deliveries were turning from down the wicket. He was beating the outside edge as well as the inside edge. The balls that turned beat the inside edge, and balls that went straight down beat the outside edge. So he also, there was LBW factor bowling from down to wicket. So he utilized the conditions beautifully and intelligently, and it's a combination of those things. I mean, the pitch definitely number one, his skills as also number one, and some inability on part of the Indian batsmen. That's also because he succeeded in planting those doubts in the minds of Indian batters. He kept them guessing. I mean, at what speed he's going to bowl, what amount of turn he is going to impart, whether the ball will go straight down with the angle or turn. He kept them guessing. I mean, his skills we must not forget. Yeah, we have not seen too many foreign spinners, especially from Sena countries, who have had so much of success on Indian pitches over a period of 10 years. This is his. I mean, his first tour of India was in 2013 in a series that Australia lost 4-0, and he has 50 odd wickets from 10 matches in India, which shows that he's a special bowler.
Murida, you agree to Akshul's point?
I agree. I absolutely agree that he's a very special bowler. I also agree that he sort of varied his pace and every attribute that Devashish and Atriya both mentioned. But I also want to say that Indians over the last decade and more, they have lost the skill to play quality spin bowling. So that's something that I will also want to put on record. I mean, our ability. Forget the Sunil Gavaskar of 1987, that 96 on a turner against Iqbal Qasim and Tausif Ahmed. No one's going to Sunnybai. I mean, that was an absolute masterclass as to how to play in a minefield. That, according to me, was one of the greatest innings you can see on a turner. No problem. You don't have that quality every time. Think of a Tendulkar against a Saqlain Mushtaq and that Pakistan team in 99. I mean, come on. Cheteshwar Pujara demonstrated in the second innings of the Indore test you can get runs. Right? Just go down one by one. Rohit Sharma's first innings, 6th over, 7th over slog, not needed. Ravindra Jadeja, the way he got out, not needed. Virat Kohli, both innings, poor shots. Let's put it on record, poor shots. Second innings, Shubman Gill, dancing down the track with, I think, 1 over to T or something like that, right? I think on the last over to T. Makes zero sense. So if you take a look at India's shot selection, you will see, again, spin. It tells you we were rushing, we were trying to, we are not that confident. You've got to play, you've got to sort of give the bowler the respect, and on a turner, have the skill to be able to do so. I don't think this Indian side has the skill because they don't play domestic cricket anymore. None of these fellows do. You don't have the skill to be able to negotiate a ranked turner. Brings into the question, why would you prepare a ranked turner? You should not, because that is no longer your strength. So I think it's a combination of both. Nathan Lyon being a good bowler, and India's quality against spin has gone down over the years.
Absolutely. And coming to Boryada's point, poor selection of shots. Devashish, coming to you, do you think Indian batters lack that patience to face? They were themselves confused of the pitch and they did not know what to do, because Rohit Sharma getting he got saved by Steve Smith not taking the DRS, and Rohit Sharma playing that poor shot, Jadeja playing that poor shot. So do you think they do not have that patience to face such kind of situations, Devashish?
Yeah, that has got to do with playing too many white ball cricket in recent times, because India hardly plays test match, if you see. So that can be one of the reason. But you look at Labuschagne or the way he batted in the second innings. The key is to use your footwork, play with a straight bat, vertical bat, rather than cross batted shot, which led to the downfall of Virat Kohli, for instance. So the Indians, I think India, there has to be a lot of planning going on. Obviously, when you have someone like a Rahul Dravid sitting in the dugout, in the dressing room. Who better than Rahul Dravid to because he was one of the best players of spin and fast bowling. So yes, Indian batters. Some of the shots were definitely led to their downfall, and also their weakness against spin bowling has is once again proved in this test series. But having said that, the key will be to respect the bowlers and also not going into a defensive mindset, because one good ball and you might get out. So as Travis had said in the second innings, he was playing aggressive shots, but those were all proper shots, not risky shots. So maybe a Rohit Sharma, because Rohit Sharma or a Shubman Gill, eh, be patient. Key will be to be stay on the wicket, spend time on the wicket, because they have all the shots in their armory. So the key for Indian batters will be to respect the bowlers
Patience.
and also not going into a defensive mindset against Australian spinners.
Okay. And we have a question here from Trisha Ghoshal. Our Trisha. Should India get in Kuldeep Yadav? And if yes, in whose place? Because Akshar has been by far the best batter for India. Who would take it? Atrio, you go first.
Come again, please. Repeat the
A
question,
question
please.
from Trisha Ghoshal. Should India get in Kuldeep Yadav? And if yes, then in whose place? Because Akshar has been by far the best batter for India.
Well, it reminds us of the previous India-Australia series in India, where Kuldeep Yadav was brought into the 11 in the fourth match in Dharamshala, last match, which India won, and Kuldeep took 4 wickets in the first innings. Chances of that happening here are quite minimal, I would say, because as you pointed out, who do you drop? You cannot drop Ashwin, you cannot drop Jadeja, you cannot drop Akshar. Akshar mainly because of the stability that he has provided down the order with his batting. And I think four spinners is also quite unlikely, because whenever India has fielded four spinners in the past. In fact, in Nagpur against England in the series that they lost 2012-13, that season. But four spinners, when you get four spinners, one of them or two of them invariably go underutilized. So four spinners is not an option. So Kuldeep, I mean, due credit to him, I don't think the door opening for him at the moment, unless they take a very drastic call and drop Akshar, like something like
I
what
think.
UP Warriors did by dropping Grace Harris in yesterday's WBL match.
Yeah.
So let's look a
Goyada,
little
Goyada,
unlikely.
go first.
Yeah, I mean that UP decision was a
And it's a
blame.
pity. It's a
You know, there are these calls, there are these strange calls, and they sort of leave you. I got about 10 odd messages from people asking, is Grace Harris injured? And I'm like, your guess is as good as mine. I mean, you score a 25 ball 60 and you get dropped, or for the sake of combination. Which mad person was doing combination? Anyway, that is their call. Having said that, I agree with Atrio. I don't see Kuldeep coming in and four spinners playing. Not happening. Because clearly, with three spinners, you've been able to do the job. Look at Aksar's record in Ahmedabad. Very, very good. Uh, Look, there is no need for India to press the panic button. You've lost one test match.
Yes.
You've won two. You're still ahead 2-1 in the series. This whole madness, what happened? What happened? Nothing happened. You are still leading the series. You are still in control. All you need to win the decider and you're up for the World Test Championship final. At the start of the series, if people told you India leading 2-1 with one test to go, would you have taken it? 100 times out of 100, yes. No Jasprit Bumrah, no Rishabh Pant, would you have taken it? Yes. People were saying this is the best Australian side, or rather the best chance for Australia to beat India. That's not happening. India has already won two test matches. So you know what? My point is, as analysts, as fans, as journalists, let's all be calm. Having said that, there are certain points, and the shot selection point is important. The points that need to be raised. I mean, you don't need a track like this, because that track, that underprepared wicket or whatever you want to call it, a rank turner, is sort of showing that you're a little bit anxious. You don't need to do that. Just back your strengths. Back your strengths, you will beat this Australian team. And Rohit Sharma, according to me, in recent years, along with Rishabh Pant, has been your best player in Test cricket. He's got to be there. Rohit Sharma there, look at the England series. Look at how Rohit Sharma batted. And there I feel a little frustrated with the way Virat gave his wicket away. He looked brilliant in Delhi, brilliant with that 44. And one was like a masterclass is coming. Even in Indore, the way he was
Yes.
playing,
First
the
innings.
20 odd runs was quality stuff. Quality. Soft hands here. I mean, no panic. He was playing, himself in, and all of a sudden that shot comes. So that's where you tend to believe that we need to be a little bit more, how do I put it? Our choice of shot selection needs to be better. If we do that, if India plays to 80% Rohan, India beats this Australian team on home soil. No debate. So I think it will be 3-1. Last England tour, if you remember, we lost the Chennai test. All hell had broken loose and everybody was sort of jumping up and about. India won the series 3-1. The same is going to happen here. Indore was a good wake-up call. I think it was a good pinch saying, hello, don't be complacent. Don't jump into things which you don't need to do. I think India will get their act right.
Okay. And Atsuro, you were there in Ahmedabad. Any changes from the Australian squad?
Once again, there was some disturbance in the audio. Can you repeat the question, please?
Any changes from the Australian squad?
Well, why would they break their winning combination? I mean, after weeks of struggle, they put together a winning 11. And mind you, they don't have too many options to fall back on. I mean, who do they drop and who, more than that, who do they bring in? They don't have too many options. So I think they will stick to their the combination that won them the third test and gave them some mental strength going ahead to the fourth one. I don't think Australia will think of making changes in 11 unless there are injury or illness problems.
Okay. And Devashish, you were talking about Virat Kohli not getting a century for how long? How many days?
1200
Yesterday, you were
days.
1200 days. So we think,
Only 1200 days.
okay, okay. So we would hope that comes.
But just let me share just the news that on Bumrah he had his surgery in Christchurch, so he is expected to be out of action for almost 6 months now. So Bumrah's chance of playing that World Cup looks to be in serious doubts.
Okay.
And I'm told that they've goofed up big time because this surgery was advised last year.
Absolutely.
Clearly, we made a mess by thinking that they could avoid surgery and they could get him to play. And if you see the details as to how many times he was advised surgery and how many times our management, our physios, our injury management team, they did not do the right thing. And now clearly, as he says, 6 months you're out, that brings you to September, October. So Jasprit Bumrah for the World Cup is perhaps not happening. Now that's a big blow for India. That's a big blow for India. And this brings into question once more. You have a dearth of talent. I mean, you don't have a Bumrah. So you needed to manage Bumrah better. This whole greed about trying to manage him and get him to play all formats has backfired. So you need to be very careful as to how you manage your top players, whether it's a Rishabh, whether it's a Kohli, whether it's a Rohit, whether it's a Bumrah. And it is sad because clearly Jasprit Bumrah's career and post-surgery, a return is always suspect. Will he have the same ability? Can he be the same bowler? We've got to wait and see. While one wishes him all the very best, this is again a case that perhaps should not have happened in the annals of Indian cricket.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And if not Bumrah, then we'll have other options for the ODIs.
Who replaces
Siraj.
Bumrah in a crunch situation? Think about it. You are bowling a 49th over in a World Cup, Rohan, against a Pakistan in the final or a semi-final, and your choice was between Bumrah and 50 others. Who would you go to? Bumrah. Do you have a replacement for Bumrah? No. Do you have a replacement for Bumrah in the world? No. Can anybody bowl those kind of Yorkers? No. And all of a sudden you're telling yourself, no, I don't have a Bumrah because we've goofed up with his fitness. We have pushed him to playing more cricket. We rushed him back in October so that he could play the T20 World Cup. We have messed up, for God's sake. Has anybody questioned this mess up? Will people be pulled up for this mess up? Which person, who was the one who took the call of playing Bumrah against Australia in September? We need to know that person. Who is that person? Because clearly, that can't happen. That person is a criminal. Because by doing that, clearly his injury got further, aggravated and deteriorated further, and you've lost that. For God's sake, we need to do better with people like Jasprit Bumrah.
Absolutely, and finding a Bumrah's replacement for the World Cup is really.
And even if he comes back from surgery, there
He
will
won't
be
get
that
his ball back.
doubt whether he's going to play all matches, because you have to move on thinking that we might not get Bumrah for all matches from now on, because whenever he comes back after the surgery, when he's fit, fully fit, trust me, with his action, there will be always that doubt, that semblance of doubt that he won't be available for all the matches, and you cannot risk him playing all the matches. So India needs to think, the Indian team management needs to think of moving on, thinking that you might not get Bumrah
Again. And coming to that, also the wicketkeeper position for the
you cannot
audience.
replace a Bumrah, and so it's better to get prepared for a life without Bumrah.
Yeah,
Yes.
a wicketkeeper
Yeah,
replacement
what
for
was the question
Rishabh Pant.
again?
Okay.
It is, Ishan Kishan is definitely an option, and you may also see a bit of Rahul, and beyond these two, I don't see somebody at the moment, because World Cup coming closer. You have already selected a pool of players, and there are not many who have caught the attention in the domestic circuit. So I don't see there is a big scope for new face coming into the picture at the moment. So you will probably see India persist with the ones they have, which is the two that they have, which is Rahul and Ishan Kishan.
Thank you, Shan. Yeah. And yes, we have to end the show, but before we end, Boyada, coming to you, Steve Smith will be again captaining in the fourth test. He has done extremely well in the third one. Your thoughts on Steve Smith's captaincy?
Fantastic. I mean, he sort of knew what he was doing. He was a proactive captain, better than Pat Cummins. Pat Cummins sort of looked slightly lost, hasn't captained here. Steve Smith knew that and was very good for Australia. So it's a boon in disguise in that sense. They'll have to do, sort of come close, clearly telling you that even during the Ashes, Pat Cummins needs to utilize Stephen Smith's ability much better.
Absolutely.
So for Australia, it was an excellent call. And you said finishing the show. Today is International Women's Day, and we've got a packed day on RevSportz, celebrating International Women's Day with our Trailblazers Conclave. Packed sessions, stories of sensitivity, inclusivity, stories from the greatest, from India's absolute best, with women at the centerpiece of the whole conclave. I think people need to watch all day, because our whole mission was to ensure that we breach this gender divide, and that was what was evident at the conclave. I think people are raving about the conclave all across the country. It exceeded our expectations as well. So I would urge everybody to watch the conclave from 10 a.m. onwards, 10 or 11, rather 11. That's what the schedule is. So every session, there were key takeaways. Takeaways from Abhinav, from Meera, from Neeraj, from Nikhat, from all your stars. And everyone opened up. No holds barred. Real questions, real conversations, not the superficial kind of stuff that we often see. And I think people need to watch and enjoy that on International Women's Day.
Absolutely. And Atro, you were missed in the event, but do enjoy the show. And we have lots in
I
store.
missed it
So
too. I ended up watching it only on YouTube, and
yeah. Whole day it is packed from 11 a.m. in the morning till late 10 p.m. in the night, and we have the WPL live also coming up. We have the WPL pre and post show, a written piece, and so we have
We'll
not
also
seen
have
store.
we'll also discuss on the Border Gavaskar Trophy, if I'm not wrong, along with the WPL pre-match show. I think that's what our schedule is. The 7 p.m. show will have also discussion on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Am I right,
Obviously.
Shweta? We'll also have discussion on the Border Gavaskar Trophy,
Yes.
or it's only about the
Yes.
pre-show. I
Yes.
think it will be both. Both should.
Mixture of both. And again, tomorrow, Akshay will be there from the ground, as you see, and we'll be back with the Team of the Sports show. And so that's all for now. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining. Akshay, Devashizda, and Boryada. Once again, happy birthday to you, and we
Thank you.
have a great day. Tomorrow we'll be there to celebrate your birthday with you. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye.